Our first guest is Mr. Bob Andrews. Bob is a master official for the WIAA in 3 sports. 26 years in baseball and basketball, 16 years as a volleyball official. Bob, his wife Debbie, son Matt, the whole family have been a part of our state baseball tournament crew. Bob runs the scoreboard, Debbie takes tickets for, I don't know, the last how many years. Bob's cardiac emergency occurred December 6th, working a basketball game at Two Rivers. Bob, I ask you to come up and help us out here a little bit today.
Sudden cardiac arrest is a leading cause of death in sports, especially young athletes, because most schools cannot afford to have an EMT or MD on school grounds. They can afford to have an easy-to-use AED with voice prompts to walk users through the simple steps necessary in saving lives. Defibrillation and CPR. Every school should have an AED, especially the schools and athletic programs. We are very happy that Dave has implemented this importance of such training for coaches and having AEDs on sites. A big thanks to Two Rivers for having a plan in place and an AED outside the gym. A special thanks to Matt Latour, the AD, and Craig Rice-Stricken, the associate principal, for quick response. Here are some of the reasons why it is important to have AEDs. Defibrillation within 3 minutes of sudden cardiac arrest increases the chance of survival to 70%. Shock within 1 minute of collapse raises the survival rate to 90%. Calling 911 is necessary, but the wait for the first responders may take too long. The average call to shock time in the typical community is 9 minutes. This is why implementing AEDs at sporting events are a lifesaver. Thank you.
Our next guest is a young man by the name of Michael Saxby. Michael's a sophomore, a 3-sport athlete, football, basketball, baseball at Wanakee High School. Michael is the youngest of 3. Did I get that correct? Of Molly and Chris Saxby. 2 older sisters, Kelly and Laura. I'm the youngest of 5 with 2 older sisters. That's an envious position. Outside, Mike's a solid 3-point-plus student. And outside of school, he loves to fish, loves to golf. Michael was playing in a basketball game at West Allis Central this past December 27th, 2 days after Christmas, when he went into cardiac arrest. I'm so grateful to Michael and his mom for coming to join us today, and invite you to come on up and talk to our friends.
Hello everyone. I'd like to thank you for giving me the chance to come out and speak to all of you today. I hope my story sends a strong message that will influence you to address whether your districts have enough AEDs, enough to cover all areas of co-curricular activities. So to start, my name is Michael Saxby. I'm currently 16 years old and a sophomore at Wanakee High School. Growing up, I was a 3-sport athlete: football, basketball, and baseball. I love sports, love the competitive nature, love the adrenaline rush you get, and love being out there with my best pals. I loved it all, except one thing: the long running. I was never a great distance runner, although I was a fast sprinter. I always wondered why I could never run long distances. I was always in shape, and since I was always in a sport, I thought I was naturally who I am, someone not blessed with good endurance. That issue got weird as I got older, especially within the last year or two, as I was constantly coming in last in long running activities, and just always so fatigued. Sometimes in the last basketball season, and even football, I got dizzy and really lightheaded. Now, I said I was an athlete. Technically, I no longer am. Why, you may ask? Why would I not be playing sports anymore? Why am I not playing the sports I love? Well, the reason is because of a genetic heart condition called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, HCM, a disease in which a portion of my heart is enlarged, which limits the amount of blood to be pumped through. This is why I always was tired and fatigued and wasn't a good distance runner. However, it was undiagnosed and I had no idea I had it. So I still played sports because I thought I was fine. The way I found out, though, will always be a day that me, my family, and friends will always remember. December 27th, 2016. I was at a holiday hoops tournament in West Dallas playing for my JV team. After so much time of unknowingly pushing my heart further than I should have, it had developed significant scarring along the extra thick heart muscle. During the game, while diving for a loose ball, it stopped. I suffered a sudden cardiac arrest due to the disease. Sudden cardiac arrest is not a heart attack. Sudden cardiac arrest is the leading cause of death in high school athletes. They can be caused by a heart condition you are born with and develops as you get older, or from a virus or a blow to the chest. 9,500 youth are affected annually, and up to 95% of victims die because of a delay in response. I was lucky enough to have a chain of survival that started with a scorekeeper, who called 911 immediately. Then there was also a trainer, Scott Bartholoma, right there, who remained calm when everyone else was panicking and began to perform CPR to revive me while my coach was told to grab an AED. The doctors in the ICU told my parents Scott performed perfect CPR. He got me hooked up to the AED and continued to remain calm until the paramedics arrived. When the paramedics got there, they took over and also did their job to perfection. I was rushed to the hospital where my parents were told I had HCM. The chain of survival was the key to saving my life, and every person and the AED played a part in saving it. One of those links breaks, and the outcome may have not been the same. I spent the next week in the hospital and had a defibrillator implanted to pace my heart and work like an AED if my heart stopped and needed to be shocked. Now, I'm just thankful to be here, as less than about 5% of people who suffer a sudden cardiac arrest, as I did, come out alive and with no permanent brain or neurological damage. Although my athletic career is over and I won't be able to do what I love, I'm still here, and I'm thankful for that. I still get to live the rest of my life, get married, have children, all the real important things. I can still be part of the teams and be with the guys, but my role will be different. I can also share my story in the importance of having enough AEDs throughout school campuses and proper CPR training for as many people as possible. Everyone needs to know how easy an AED is to use. When in doubt, put the pads on and let the machine tell you what to do. Now, why I'm here talking in front of all the athletic directors in the state? Because I feel it is important to make sure that schools have the right number of AEDs in their schools, and if they don't, to increase those numbers. This can start with all of you. Where my incident happened, it was a perfect spot. A scorekeeper calling 911 immediately. Minutes and seconds do matter. Scott, the trainer, who had worked with the Bucks, was right there. An AED within 3 minutes, paramedics nearby, and on top of everything, I was right by one of the best cardiology hospitals in the nation, Milwaukee Children's Hospital. But what if it would have happened out on a football field or a baseball field? Would an AED have been close enough? If the answer is no, I may very likely not be here today. We need to make sure schools have enough. I know that coaches are required to be CPR and AED certified, and that's great. But it isn't enough. CPR won't bring a person back from a sudden cardiac arrest. Only an AED will. We can have the people certified, but the devices need to be close enough to save the person. Your schools may have one or more than one. But do you have enough? What if it's in the gym and you need it on a field? Or on a field and you need it in a gym? Schools need to be prepared and have one within 3 minutes of every place on school grounds. Someone could need one at a play, at a meeting, or even a banquet at the school. There needs to be one close. I get it, they're expensive. Some schools maybe cannot afford as many as they need. Is there a way we could get the schools that money? Yes, there is a great resource out there. If your school needs help getting them, please check out Project Adam through the Children's Hospital of Milwaukee. They work specifically within schools to get AEDs in place. You can even talk to me and I will get you in contact with them. That's what they do. It was started by parents of a boy just like me named Adam Lemmel, who was in my age playing in a basketball game just like me. But he did not make it, because there is not an AED present. People may say we don't need all these devices in all these places. What is the chance of something like that happening here and now? Well, that's what I may have said, because you hear about these events happening other places. You would never expect it to hit close to home. But it did for me, my parents, my coaches, my teammates, and my friends. They all had to see what happened to me, and that was traumatic and scary. But there's an AED present. The odds may be low for something like this to happen at your school, but for that one time it does, you're going to want one. It could save a life. Save mine. And one life is worth a lot more than the cost of an AED to so many people. Just ask my parents, my family, my coaches, my friends, and my teammates. Once you witness someone who needs an AED, which I hope you never do, you'll be glad you made the decision to put AEDs where they need to be. Thank you.
You know, from up here, when I look at the emotion, the pride, the love in the eyes of the people who have accompanied Bob and Michael here today, you know, when you say to those two, it really is nice to have you here with us today, it takes on an entirely different dimension.